The running slash fog lights on my Jeep don't work, so I checked the bulbs. They were good, so I got up in the fuse box, pulled the fuse out, checked it with a continuity tester. It was good, so I found the relay and found another relay with the same number, swapped those two. I think it was the O2 sensor relay, and still the lights didn't work. So I even got a voltmeter and plugged into the fuse outlet. Nothing there. Plugged in at the input of the relay. Nothing there. Still no lights. So it's almost got to be the multifunction switch or turn signal switch where you pull out for the fog lights. That part of the switch must be bad. So to remove that, we got to take out the Phillips screws on the bottom of the steering column covers. There's 2 Phillips screws up towards the steering wheel underneath. And that just pulls out. Here's what the screws look like. And the top of them just pulls off. Helps if you have the wheel tilted down. Then there's 2 connectors, one right behind the hazard switch. You have to unlock it with that red slider. You slide that red lock back with a screwdriver, and then reach in there and squeeze the gray clip, and the whole thing pulls off. You got another one on the right side. Again, the red lock, push it out with a screwdriver, squeeze the gray connector, and that pulls out of the wiper switch. Then up on top, there's 2 torx screws, T20 torx screws. Take those out. And then we're going to be able to remove that whole switch. It just kind of wiggles and lifts up and off. Again, have the wheel tilted down. And I just kind of left the tilt lever down so that I can move it around at will. So I went to AutoZone and I bought what they call a multifunction switch. And it is just the light control switch. So just the left lever. The turn signals, headlights, running lights, cabin lights. Just that switch. So you can see there the new one on the top. We have to remove some things from the old one. The relay for the turn signals, remove that, plug it into the new switch. Then we'll have to remove the wiper control off the right hand side of it and install it on the new light control. So all that together is the multifunction switch. But there's 2 T10 torx screws holding the wiper control on. Remove those and then it'll just slide off the other side of the switch. Slide it onto the new one, put the screws back in. It's not hard. Let's get those screws back in. There's one more thing we need to do. We need to grab the dust grommet from the turn signal switch off the old one and slip it over the new one. It just pulls off. And slide it over the new switch and we're ready to reinstall, which is just a reverse of everything we did to get it out of there. Nothing too tricky. Slip it over the steering column, wiggle it till it's in place. Put your torque screws back in the top. Then we have to hook the wiring harnesses back up. The one that goes into the wiper switch, wiggle it in, and then snap the little red lock back in place so it don't fall out. Same thing with the light control wiring harness. Plug it in and then make sure it goes click and then snap the red lock in place. And then our steering column covers. Tricky part here is just making sure you get those dust grommets, the rubber dust grommets in place, like kind of behind and inside the holes that are in the 2 covers. It's not that hard. And once you've got both of those in place, then just put your Phillips screws back in from underneath. And it should all work again. In my case, it was the lights. In your case, it might be a turn signal switch or whatever, but once you've got the covers back on, just turn it on and make sure it works. Mine works. This job was cake. You can do this. Don't be scared. Jeep on.